What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to talk about Jets rookie wide receiver Malachi Corley and Aaron Rodgers playing through an injury. So let's talk about Malachi Corley first. It's been a rather disappointing season for the rookie. I'm sure he's wanted to get on the field more than what he has. And there's just been a couple interesting quotes about Jets rookie wide receiver Malachi Corley. First from Jeff Ulbrich, then today from Todd Downing. I want to start with Ulbrich's quote because he brings up a word that jumped out to me at the time. And then when I heard this word brought up again today by Todd Downing, it raised some red flags. So Jeff Ulbrich said that Malachi Corley has made major improvements in maturity, but at the same time, he still has a ways to go from an offensive perspective. And as we all know, if you're going to be the fourth receiver because of the talent within that room, you have to find a significant role on special teams. So it's that maturity word that is sticking out to me. Maybe the Jets view Malachi Corley as someone who needs to improve in the maturity department, and that's exactly where I'm going here with Todd Downing, his quote on the Jets rookie wide receiver.
So what have you seen from Malachi Corley from the standpoint of, obviously you guys are not in the playoffs. Some people might say, why aren't they taking more of a look at him? But you have also good veteran guys here.
Yeah.
So, what have you seen from him, and what do you say to something like that about him not getting a chance here?
Yeah, I'd say, first of all, our priority is winning games, not evaluation. And so we're going to do what we feel puts us in the best position to compete and win games. Malachi happens to be in a room that's got a lot of talent ahead of him on the depth chart. That being said, I think he's got some pros in front of him that he gets to learn from, and certainly has gone through the season wanting more opportunities, but I think he's learning to handle that in better and more mature ways. Malachi's got a bright future in this league, and he's got a skill set, that will eventually help teams, win football games. Right now, though, he's fighting to get the scraps from Devontae and G and Allen and so on. So I think he's learning to be a pro.
So Downing says the same things. He wants more opportunities. He's learning how to handle that in a better and more mature way. So that's twice in the span of like 3 days that maturity has been brought up surrounding Malachi Corley. So my question is, because I'm trying to find an answer for why Malachi Corley hasn't been on the field. The Jets obviously loved him in the pre-draft process. They rated him as their number 4 wide receiver in this draft over someone like Brian Thomas Jr., for example. And Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh boasted about being able to draft Malachi Corley, and they were trying to trade up for him at the start of the second round. And finally, at the top of the third round, they were able to move up and land the guy that they so desperately wanted in Malachi Corley. And then we go through the summer, and he gets some opportunities, not a ton, but some opportunities in the summer. And then in the regular season, we really haven't seen all that much of him. He's been a healthy scratch most weeks. And unfortunately, his most memorable play from this year is when he dropped the ball before entering the end zone, taking a touchdown off the board against the Houston Texans. So again, I don't know because I am not there in the building with Malachi Corley, but I'm just asking or wondering if maturity is maybe part of the issue that the Jets are seeing. And look, I'm not going to give this coaching staff a free pass. I think they've handled players wrong in the past. So there's probably some instance of the Jets mishandling this, but I just can't get off of this being the same thing, maturity being brought up twice within this past week. And it's just strange that he can't see the field in front of, Xavier Gipson, who muffed a punt at the end of the game and really hasn't offered much of anything at all at the wide receiver position, or Allen Lazard. And I know he's a different style of wide receiver than Allen Lazard is, but Lazard has dropped 19.5% of his targets, leading the league after he led the league last year at 17.9%. So he's had major drop issues so far this year. Yes, early on in the year before the injury, I think he was, pretty productive for what the expectation was going into the season. But still, Corley isn't able to, even though he was not a healthy scratch this most recent time, not able to get on the field for whatever reason. And again, my question just is Is it a maturity thing? Is this part of the equation that maybe we're not getting here? And that would be a red flag. It's already a red flag that we haven't seen him much on the field this year. But if there's also a maturity issue, that would be a problem going forward for Corley. Who knows? Maybe a new regime, new staff comes in. They love him. They can make him a gadget guy in their offense and use him properly, and all is fine in the world. But I'm not going to lie to you. There's concern. I think it's fair to be concerned about his play in year one or lack thereof. Look at these results. People are making thousands every month betting on sports completely risk-free. The secret, they're using OddsJam. OddsJam isn't just another betting app on the market. It's turning the entire system in your favor. Here's how. OddsJam uses arbitrage betting. They find odds differences across sports books. You bet both sides, and no matter the outcome, you will profit. Here's a good example. If you bet 500 on Boise State in this example to win on FanDuel and 335 on the opponent San Francisco on DraftKings, you're guaranteed, no matter who wins, to make $50. It's that simple. With OddsJam's mobile app, you'll get real-time alerts on these opportunities every day. People are making thousands monthly, and to get you started, use code O'Leary for 35% off and a 7-day free trial. I'll guarantee that you profit during the trial, but if you don't, for whatever reason, cancel with one click, no questions asked. Don't leave money on the table. Go to oddsjam.com, use code O'Leary, and start making money the smart way. The next thing of note is Aaron Rodgers is playing through an MCL injury for the final games of the year.
Jeff was saying that your knee is bothering you and need to know your status this week. Can you give us any update?
Yeah, I'm going to play, and it feels pretty good.
What are you dealing with exactly there?
A little MCL, but I've had a lot worse. Got lucked out, avoided major stretchage of the MCL.
Did you have to take an MRI?
No, I did not. Good question, though.
So it's very clear that Aaron Rodgers wants to play the full 17-game season. Now, just for context, usually these are the recovery times for a mild, moderate, and severe MCL injury. Mild is usually 1 to 3 week recovery time, moderate 4 to 6, severe 6 to 12 weeks. Again, everyone is different. These are just standard timelines or average timelines, so to speak. But let's even just go the optimistic route and say that it's a mild injury to the MCL. That's still a 1 to 3 week recovery time. So I think it's fair to assume that this injury is going to linger and impact his play over the final 2 games against the Buffalo Bills this week and the Miami Dolphins the final week of the year. Rodgers also had another quote stating, having surgery in the offseason is always difficult on the body and mind. So to go through the season and not to have offseason surgery would be really nice and would definitely make me feel better about where my body was at moving forward. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if he does have to have offseason surgery at some point, because it's been a very long injury-riddled season for Rodgers this year. He's had hamstring injuries. Both knees have bothered him, a high ankle sprain, and the knee injury has resurfaced, or another one has surfaced now later on in the year with this most recent MCL injury. So pretty much his whole lower half at some point this year has affected him. You could probably count on one hand how many times Aaron Rodgers has truly been 100% healthy in games this year, which is, I think, something that has to play in, not be the only factor, right? There are many factors in the decision that the Jets have to make with Aaron Rodgers for 2025. Other options, money, the whole thing. Like, there's a lot that goes into the decision of whether you bring Aaron Rodgers back or not. I just want to provide the full context and talk about these injuries, because I do think that has to play a factor in your decision. And it's definitely impacted his play this year. I think it's been noticeable. He's going to finish with, I'm going to say, decent stats. What I want to do at the end of the year is go over, I'm talking like deep dive on everything, not just passing yards, passer rating, touchdowns, but look at some, deep dive into the statistics of how he's played this year and compare them to the rest of the starters in the NFL. And again, kind of just talk about who I think, or if rather, he is the guy or not the guy going forward. But again, through the final 2 games this year, he will be dealing with an injury. Let me know your thoughts on both Malachi Corley and or Aaron Rodgers. Sound off in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.